There was once a young man who won the admiration of a prince, not because of his position or wealth, but because of something far deeper. An unlikely friendship, forged in times of war and sealed by a pact so strong that it defied a king, altered the destiny of a kingdom, and proved that true loyalty knows no limits. What makes a friendship unbreakable? What separates a true friend from someone who is by your side only out of convenience? In this story, a young shepherd is chosen by God, and a prince who should have seen him as a rival does something completely unexpected. He places their friendship above his own throne. Today, you will dive deep into the friendship of David and Jonathan, one of the most moving and inspiring connections in the Bible. But more than that, you will discover 4 powerful lessons that can transform the way you build relationships. But pay close attention, because the last lesson may reveal something that will forever change your understanding of true friendship. Before we continue, make sure to like this video to support the channel, and get ready for a story of loyalty, sacrifice, and purpose. In today's world, where connections seem increasingly superficial, finding a true friend can feel like an impossible mission. How many times have you trusted someone only to be disappointed? How many friendships started with intensity but eventually faded over time? We all seek genuine relationships, but what truly differentiates an ordinary friend from an unbreakable one? The Bible teaches us that true friendship is not based on momentary interests, but on a greater purpose. And that is exactly what we see in the story of David and Jonathan. Against all expectations, a prince who should have seen David as a rival chose to love him as his own soul. But what made this friendship so strong? What made this connection different from any other? There was a specific action that Jonathan took, something that changed everything. A radical, unexpected gesture that forever defined the true meaning of friendship. This action revealed what truly sustains an unshakable connection. And throughout this video, you will discover this secret, a lesson so powerful that it could transform the way you build relationships today. Stay with me, because this revelation might just be the key to ensuring that you never feel alone again. Israel was going through turbulent times. King Saul ruled with an increasingly restless heart, feeling that his position was under threat. Meanwhile, out in the fields, a young shepherd named David, unknown to the royal family, was about to change the course of the nation's history. With calloused hands from labor and a heart full of faith, David would become the unlikely hero who would defeat Goliath and earn the respect of the people. But that victory would mark the beginning of an even greater challenge, and a friendship that would change everything. Jonathan was the rightful heir to the throne, the eldest son of the king. From an early age, he had been trained to lead, carrying the weight of succession on his shoulders. By human logic, he should have seen David as an enemy, a direct threat to his future. But something completely unexpected happened. The Bible describes it this way: the soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David, and he loved him as his own soul. 1 Samuel 18 verse 1. But what did this bond really mean? Jonathan saw something in David that no one else did. While Saul saw a rival, Jonathan saw a brother. In a radical and symbolic gesture, he did something that would have shocked anyone who understood the weight of his position. He removed his royal tunic and gave it to David. But he didn't stop there. He also gave him his sword, his bow, and his belt. These objects were not mere accessories. They were symbols of status, power, and inheritance. With this act, Jonathan was not just acknowledging David as a worthy warrior, but as someone he believed was destined for something greater. This act of surrender was more than a gift. It was a covenant. In a world where alliances were often broken out of self-interest and betrayal was common, Jonathan chose to honor friendship over his own position. He willingly gave up what was rightfully his, not out of weakness, but out of love and trust in a greater purpose. But why would Jonathan do this? What would make him give up his own future for someone who, in the world's eyes, was just a simple shepherd? This kind of attitude might seem unimaginable today, but it reveals a profound truth about genuine friendships. Are we willing to value our connection with someone over our own self-interest? can we recognize when God places a divine friendship in our lives. This story teaches us that true friendship does not compete, it celebrates. It does not cling to what it might lose, but strengthens what can be built together. Jonathan did not see David as a rival. He saw him as God's chosen one, and that attitude changed everything. But how far would this friendship be tested? And what would be the cost of such loyalty? David and Jonathan show us something rare in today's world. A friendship that wasn't built on interests, status, or personal gain. On the contrary, Jonathan had everything to lose by standing by David's side. He was the prince of Israel, the rightful heir to the throne. If he had followed human logic, he should have protected his position and eliminated any threat. But he did the exact opposite. He chose to love David as his own soul, to place their friendship above his own crown, and to honor the purpose he saw in his friend's life. Now, stop and think. Have you ever had a friendship like that? A friendship where, instead of competing, you strengthen each other? In today's world, friendships are often based on convenience. When everything is going well, people are by our side. But when challenges arise, how many truly stay? Jonathan teaches us that a true friend is not just there when life is easy, but remains even in the hardest moments, when standing by someone's side requires sacrifice. And here is the first great lesson. True friendships are built on selflessness, not competition. Jonathan did not see David as a rival, but as someone he believed was chosen by God. And because of that, he chose to help him, even if it meant giving up his own future on the throne. Now, take a look at your friendships. Are you building deep connections, or are they merely superficial? Are you surrounded by people who genuinely care about you, or just those who are around when it's convenient for them? And more importantly, what kind of friend have you been? David and Jonathan's friendship was anything but ordinary. It was not built on convenience, status, or temporary benefits. It was a bond formed on something much greater: purpose, loyalty, and genuine love. In a world where friendships can be disposable, where people get close out of interest and walk away at the first difficulty, their story teaches us 4 powerful lessons about true connections. The first lesson: genuine friendship is not based on interests, but on purpose. Jonathan was the rightful heir to the throne, but he recognized that God had a greater calling for David. Instead of resisting this destiny, he chose to support his friend. He saw something in David that no one else did. Their friendship was not about what one could gain from the other, but about a greater purpose that transcended ego and ambition. The second lesson: a true friend protects and encourages. When Saul realized that David was a threat to his reign, he decided to kill him. But Jonathan did not remain silent. He risked his own life to warn David, helping him escape. He didn't just talk about loyalty, he proved it, even when it cost him something. True friendships are not the ones that only celebrate victories, but the ones that remain strong even when everything falls apart. The third lesson: promises and covenants must be taken seriously. In a world where words are easily discarded and commitments are broken without hesitation, Jonathan and David made a covenant of faithfulness. They swore to protect one another and their future generations. And this promise was not forgotten. Even after Jonathan's death, years later, when David was already king, he sought out Jonathan's son, Mephibosheth, and honored his promise by bringing him into the palace and restoring all that belonged to his family. True friendship is not just about the present. It's about promises that withstand the test of time. And finally, the fourth lesson: true love sacrifices. Jonathan knew that David would take his place as king, but that did not stop him from loving and supporting his friend until the very end. He chose to let go of his own position and rejoice in David's calling. And this is one of the greatest tests of a true friendship. Can you genuinely celebrate someone else's blessings, even when it means losing something for yourself? Now, pause and reflect. What kind of friend have you been? Do you support those around you? Or do you only stay close when there's something to gain? Do you rejoice in the victories of others? Or do you let envy destroy valuable connections? And even more importantly, what kind of friends have you chosen for your life? Are you surrounding yourself with people who strengthen, encourage, and stand by you through the hardest moments? Or are you accepting shallow friendships that disappear the moment there's nothing left to gain? David and Jonathan leave us with a lesson that transcends centuries. True friendship is rare, precious, and worth any sacrifice. Most people know about the friendship between David and Jonathan, but what happened after Jonathan died? This is a detail that many overlook, yet it reveals the true impact of a genuine friendship. David became king. He won battles, solidified his reign, and fulfilled the destiny that God had prepared for him. But even at the height of his power, he did not forget the promise he made to Jonathan. He could have simply moved on, left the past behind, followed the logic of kings of that time, and eliminated any potential heir from the previous royal lineage. But instead, he did something completely unexpected. At one point in his reign, David asked a question that changed everything. Is there still anyone left of the house of Saul, to whom I may show kindness for Jonathan's sake? 2 Samuel 9 verse 1. He didn't ask if there was someone to eliminate. He asked if there was someone to bless. And that's when they told him about a young man named Mephibosheth, Jonathan's son. But there was a problem. Mephibosheth was crippled in both feet, a forgotten man living in isolation in a distant land called Lodabar. In the culture of that time, he had no status, no value. But to David, he did. Because to David, Mephibosheth was the continuation of a promise. He was a living reminder of the covenant David had made with Jonathan. David did not just bring Mephibosheth to the palace. He restored everything that belonged to Saul's family and invited him to sit at the king's table as one of his own sons. This is the power of true friendship. It does not die with time. It continues to impact lives, even after a person is gone. Now, think about this. Are the relationships you're building today leaving a legacy for the future? Will the people around you remember you as someone who honored your promises, remained faithful, and brought transformation? Or are your connections fleeting, without true meaning? If you want to learn more about biblical principles that can change your life, stay with us. Here, we explore the Bible in a unique way, uncovering hidden truths that can transform your journey. The friendship between David and Jonathan teaches us something that goes far beyond words. In a world where so many relationships are disposable, where friendships fall apart over trivial reasons, and where people often surround themselves with others for convenience, this story reminds us that God calls us to something greater. True relationships are not built on interest. They are built on purpose. They require loyalty, sacrifice, and genuine love. Jonathan gave up his position, his throne, and even his own safety to honor his friendship with David. And David, years later, proved that true friendships do not fade with time. They leave a legacy that spans generations. Now, take a moment and think. Who are the people who truly remain by your side? Who are those who support you, strengthen you, and help you grow? And more importantly, what kind of friend have you been? I want to challenge you. Take your phone right now and send a message to the person who has supported you the most in life. Tell them how much their friendship means to you. Small gestures like this can change someone's day and strengthen the bonds that God has placed in your path. And if you want to continue this journey of discovery, learning more about the stories of the Bible and how they can transform your life, don't leave without subscribing to the channel right now. Turn on notifications so that you don't miss any content, and join us on this incredible path of learning and faith. See you in the next video.